So Blue Stockings is a historical play, part fiction, part true, written by a leading female playwright, Jessica Swale, which I also felt was a really important thing to consider for a play for girls of our time. So it's a historical play, it's written by a female playwright, and it also received notable acclaim in its first production at the Globe Theatre. So for me, it just ticks all the boxes.
I think this story is a really important thing for girls our age to know. It's really inspired me how the girls just wanted to carry on and always persevered through everything, even the fight scene at the end. At the end they still say that they want to carry on, and I think that's really amazing. I think it's important for girls to know that because it's something that we take for granted. Getting an education and being able to graduate if we do choose to go to university. So I think it's important for us to know, and it's just amazing how they persevered through it all, really.
There was a whole 50 years between the point that we're actually depicting in the play and when women got the right to graduate from university, which I didn't understand before doing this play how long it actually took.
I play Mr. Banks, who is professor at Trinity and Girton College, who teaches both the girls and the boys. I think it was really inspiring to see and to play a man who was actually supportive of the women's cause when most alternate men in the play don't, and to just see the impact that had on him as a person as well as the cause, because he actually, has to, not take up a job offer because he is standing up for what he believes in, and it's really interesting to see someone believe in a cause so much and how it can have such an effect on himself and his family, even though he's just believing in what he thinks is right.
I think my favourite scene is voting day, because it's really nice to see everyone from Girton coming together as a community before this big event, and then it all goes so terribly wrong, but in a way that's kind of beautiful, and that's a real tragedy in the end, but it's nice to know that it does there is hope at the end with Tessa's lines.
So what I've enjoyed most is definitely the community of actors and how everyone is just working together, and the rehearsal period is just so fun. Everyone works together so well. And also the costumes, they're so lovely, and it all starts to come together in the last few days with all the costumes. I've just really enjoyed the whole process.
I think probably my favourite scene of the play was the fight scene at the end, because I just felt that my character had some massive character development in that. Holmes at the end made this really emotional speech, and it was a side to him that no one had really seen before. So because throughout the play he's been quite relaxed, in that scene you really saw a different side to him, and I really enjoyed letting that come out and showing that.
So I've learned a lot about the struggle that women faced trying to gain an education. My character personally drove herself to a point where she got nervous exhaustion, and I found it really interesting learning about how the girls, in order to be respected by the men, even though they weren't really respected, but in order to gain a sort of intellectual parallel, they needed to be better than and work harder than the boys just to prove themselves. And I found that really interesting, and I tried putting it into play when I was acting.
So I play Ralph Mayhew. He's a really interesting character for me personally. I think he's one of the people in the play who there's a really interesting dichotomy between who he is and who he wants to be, who he should be according to sort of the Victorian orthodoxy of the time.
Playing an antagonist, it's difficult, but then again I get to see in opposition what the protagonists are talking about, this amazing thing that they were working towards. As difficult as it was, it's interesting to put across the battle and the struggles they had to face. Putting that across, it's a real challenge, but learning about it, not only doing research and things like that, I find it really interesting. I've learnt a lot.
I think my favourite scene is King of Hearts, because it's great fun. We got to play with our characters so much and sort of develop it in our own way.
Mrs. Welsh is based on a real character. She was a real person with no rights, but who worked really hard and didn't see her dream come to fruition, but she still kept working for it. And so I guess that's seeing where there are gaps now, what progress we need to go for. And, 100 and a bit years on, there's still stuff we need to fight for, and seeing Mrs. Welsh and the other girls doing that is just really encouraging.